sure got quiet.
There we go.
That's scary.
Laurel, please. There we go. Now we're turning. Like it's 7 o'clock. We'll call to order the Seymour Common Council meeting for Monday, November the 25th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. We'll have the invocation led by the Reverend Angel Armstrong. All rise.
And just so everybody knows, in honor of Thanksgiving, I'm going to do something just a tad bit different, but it'll be quick. I'm going to start by mentioning something that I am grateful for in Seymour. Then I'm going to tag our mayor, and it'll be his turn. We'll go around the council, and then we'll have a real quick pop-up for all of you. I mean, like less than 2 minutes, you get to all together pop up something that you're grateful for in Seymour. Because if we have an attitude of gratitude and we're working together, we can make a real difference in this city. I am grateful for your interest in our recovery community. Matt?
I'm up. Let's talk about Dance Marathon for a second. Largest fundraising they've done since they started in 2014. So shout out to those kids for everything they've accomplished over the last 11 years and then to up their number one more time.
Praise be to God. Can we start over here and just go around?
I'm grateful for all the community partnerships that are going on behind the scenes to make Seymour a more inclusive and opportunistic place for our residents.
Amen.
I'm thankful for the support my family gives me to do things outside of work.
I'm grateful for all the hard-working men and women that are employed by the city of Seymour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for family and all first responders.
I'm thankful for my family and actually everybody in Seymour. So thank you.
Thankful for my friends and family, and thankful for the community that we live in, that we've got members here, the people here that are concerned and want to see a better town.
And I'm thankful for everybody that's in this room tonight for showing up and expressing your concerns and interest through the opportunities that you're given by our great country and free speech.
Amen.
Just thankful for my family and friends and health.
Amen. Okay, now you got 2 minutes. All of you come at me. I want something that you each are grateful for in the city of Seymour.
Salvation.
My recovery family.
A sovereign God that helps us all to govern.
Live in a free country.
The Parks Department.
Oh, yeah.
Our law enforcement.
Yes, 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 yes. We need to be in prayer for them and our first responders daily. Anybody else? Okay. Father God, we come before you now, thanking you for the city of Seymour, thanking you for the opportunity to have voice in making our city a better place to live. Thank you for everybody who works in our city, from the mayor to the first responders, to the police department, to everyone, even the street workers, everyone who works in this city. Lord, we ask for a safe Thanksgiving. And together we collectively raise our voices to say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Angel. Next up, before Darren sits down, we've got the Pledge of Allegiance. I wasn't quick enough for you, Darren. Sorry. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now be seated. Roll call, please, Mr. Bowes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Here.
Mr. Hackney? Here. Mr. Hubbard?
Here.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Story?
Here.
We have 6 members in attendance this evening.
Thank you, sir. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the previous meeting? If so, I'll entertain any motions related to.
Make a motion to approve minutes as written.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reports from committees, boards, and commissions, Mr. Bowes.
Reports, Mr. Beatty?
Nope.
Mr. Terrell?
No.
Mr. Hackney?
No, sir.
Mr. Hubbard?
No.
Mr. Davidson?
No.
Mr. Story?
No.
Okay. Public hearings, nothing. Going to old business.
Old business, Mr. Beatty?
No.
Mr. Terrell?
Yeah, I have, like to request the second reading of ordinance 34, Council Bill 64, 2024 by title only. We talked about this,
Need a second.
oh, sorry.
Second.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
No. Yes.
What? Second reading, we're doing, request a second reading on ordinance 3463
I was looking at something else, I'm sorry.
on old business.
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yeah.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Second reading of ordinance number 34, Council Bill 63 for 2024, an ordinance to rezone property located at 103 East Laurel Street, Seymour, Indiana, 47274, Planning and Zoning, Mr. Terrell.
Well, this was discussed in our last meeting, did come with a favorable recommendation from the planning commission. I believe it was a 7-0 and maybe 3 absent voting, something like that.
7-1.
7-1, yeah, 7-1-3, that's right, 11 of them. And this property is currently not being utilized. It was changed to residential. It was zoned as commercial for several years. It was the old Smith Tire building and had a tire shop in it, and it was changed to residential. And now they're asking to have it switched back to be commercial. I believe they're looking to put another tire business in it. So, is there anybody to speak on behalf of, or do you want to open up the questions from the council? Yeah, does anybody on council have questions?
No questions. I just, there were some questions that came up to me with regards to the whole process and what was going to happen there. This is a simple rezone. The rest of the stuff that the gentleman here has to go through will start after the rezone. He's got a local permit, he's got a state permit that he's gonna have to get. There's likely gonna be an inspection required if he does any remodel work over there. My only question is will this be a sole proprietorship?
Yes.
Okay, okay. To me, it's a simple, straightforward process that he's following through with.
Did you have something that you wanted to say on behalf?
No, we were just stepping up here in case you all
In case there
had
was questions, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We appreciate you all taking us into consideration for this. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Have questions from the audience? Anybody have any questions for them or? Okay. If no, then I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with voting on the ordinance 34, Council Bill 63.
Second.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Ordinance number 34, Council Bill 63 has passed second reading, 601.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Additional old business, Mr. Terrell.
No, I don't.
Old business, Mr. Hackney.
No, sir.
Old business, Mr. Hubbard.
No, sir.
Old business, Mr. Davidson.
I do. I'd like to make a motion for the second reading of ordinance number 35, Council Bill number 65 by title only.
Second.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Mr. Terrell.
Yes.
Mr. Hackney.
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard.
Yes.
Mr. Davidson.
Yep.
Mr. Story.
Yes.
Second reading of ordinance number 35, Council Bill 65, an ordinance amending Chapter 32 of the Seymour City Code, City Policies, Purchasing, Governmental Affairs. In Mr. Lucas's absence, Mr. Davidson.
Well, I will turn it over to you because I'm not on the Governmental Affairs Committee. So if Mr. Bose wants to tell us what we're looking at here.
Basically, what we're doing is we're updating city code. The original city code was basically written for not considering federal purchases. It was more written back at the time when it was state money that we got more so than federal. Last several years, we've been getting $1 million to 1.5 million for roads, which comes from the federal government, and we had ARP funds and coronavirus funds. So we're just updating code to make sure we dot all our I's and cross all our T's for federal requirements when we get federal money and spend federal money.
Have any questions from the council members regarding this? Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 35, Council Bill 65 on second read.
Second.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Second reading of ordinance number 35, Council Bill 65 has passed. Second reading, 601. Additional old business, Mr. Davidson.
Can I make a motion to, to amend the agenda to table, ordinance number 36, Council Bill 66? I'm happy to describe why after a second.
Do we need to read it, the title, Chris, before we table it?
Oh.
It'll need to be brought to the floor
All right.
first.
I'd like to make a motion to introduce Council Bill 36, or ordinance number 36, Council Bill 66 on second read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Second reading of ordinance number 36, Council Bill 66, an ordinance amending Chapter 150.38 of the Seymour City Code, Standards for ERA Evaluation, Governmental Affairs. Again, Mr. Davidson in absence of Mr. Lucas.
Mr. Story.
Yeah, so I was just gonna let you guys know, I'll make my motion again here in a second, but I asked JCIDC, Jim Plump to provide a, contact information for all those receiving tax abatement. I mean, our committee, the three of us that served on the committee I hadn't reached out to any of these folks, but what I would like to do is just solicit their thoughts on the changes before council would make, any changes to the current ordinance. So I'll make a motion to table this one until we hear back from this list that I got this evening.
Second.
Okay, the motion is to table ordinance 36, Council Bill 66. Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Ordinance number 36, Council Bill 66 has been tabled. 601. Any additional old business, Mr. Davidson?
I have none.
Old business, Mr. Story?
No.
New business, Mr. Bose?
Mr. Buzz, before you start new business, can we go back to reports of committee and pick up Gary Hackney?
Well, no, it's because that's in, new business. So we don't need to, all we need to do is bring it off the table.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about it in either spot. You guys met as a committee, so we thought maybe you'd want to report on it, so. But
No,
you can
I
talk
think
about it.
we're fine to bring it off the table and
Okay.
talk about it there.
Yeah, that's fine.
On to new business. Mr. Beatty, new business.
No.
Mr. Terrell?
No.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes, I will make a motion to bring resolution number 31, Council Bill number 64 off the table.
Second?
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Resolution number 31, Council Bill 64 for 2024 has been brought off the table. It's a resolution of Seymour City Council of Seymour, Indiana to establish structure for a city employee tuition reimbursement assistance program. Finance Committee, Mr. Hackney.
So I guess I don't need to ask you to read it now, right? Yeah, this originally, we had it at our last meeting and we wanted to make some changes in it, so we tabled it. We did make those changes and, now we'll bring it forth to discuss and to, vote on it. Couple of things, the Common Council, of the City of Seymour has previously approved $135,000 in the 2025 budget for tuition, employee tuition assistance. The council and the mayor's office desire to establish a structure of the city employee tuition assistance program. And I think I'll go through these 7 points because this is where some of the stuff changed. The city council may approve employee tuition assistance budget line annually to continue the program. Each participant in the program is eligible for $2,400 per year with a limit of 4 years eligibility. Number 3, the participants in the program shall receive a grade C or higher in all enrolled courses and will be reimbursed upon course completion. Section 4, the participants shall utilize all other outside financial assistance for tuition and course books prior to applying program funds to any remaining eligible expenses. Section 5, eligible participants shall be full-time employees of the City of Seymour with at least 12 consecutive months of employment with the city. Number 6, eligible expenses covered by the program are tuition and fees and books. Number 7, annually 50% of the unspent budgeted program funds shall be split equally between the Community Foundation of Jackson County and the Greater Seymour Trust Fund for establishment of scholarships for city employee family members limited to children, grandchildren, and spouses. So, with that, are there any questions from council?
I have one. Who administers the program? Like, who's in charge?
Like on the employee side?
Yeah, so is
HR.
HR, okay.
Yeah.
And they file for the tuition assistance prior to applying?
And they have to complete the courses before they're reimbursed, and they have to complete all courses with a C average or better, so. Any other questions from council? Any questions from the audience? Les?
Quick question, if I missed it, I'm sorry, but, so after they've been there for at least a year, they take the course and they're reimbursed after they get the C or better, do they have to stay within the employ of Seymour for a certain period of time, otherwise they owe the money back?
No, we didn't address that in here.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry, did you have discussion about that in committee?
I didn't hear you.
Did you have discussion about that
We
in
did
committee?
not.
Okay.
Any other questions from the audience? I was told I don't wait long enough after I asked that. So I'm waiting a little longer. Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion that resolution number 31, Council Bill number 64, be passed on first and only reading.
Second.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yep.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Resolution number 31, Council Bill 64 has passed first and only reading, 601.
I have nothing else.
New business, Mr. Hubbard?
No, sir.
Any new business, Mr. Davidson?
None.
Mr. Story?
No.
Go to miscellaneous. Bob, you wanna go first or you wanna talk about codes first? Do you want to go now, or you want me to talk about codes right quick?
Let's go now.
Okay, you're up.
Let's go now. All right. Is that the right icon?
Yep.
All right. The Jackson County Commissioners and the Jackson County Council have sent us resolutions, or I bring forth the resolutions from them with regard to some issues that we've been having, that we've been discussing kind of off and on for quite some time. And I got a few slides I want to show. I'm going to try and get through them as quick as I can. Does council need handouts? I sent these all to you guys by computer. Would you like handouts?
Sure.
I'll send those around, but.
Okay.
I need one. Give me your stack. I got one that's not, was marked up, but that's all right.
There you go. It's got some road on it.
Yeah. The slides that I'm showing were prepared by Mike Wright. Mike's with us tonight, so if there's any questions on his slides, we'll go through that. This is directly related to knowingly or intentionally operating a vehicle without ever receiving a driver's license. Okay, we have had some serious impacts in our community. Mike calls it the illegal immigrant crisis. I like to use the word impacts, but nevertheless, after some events this weekend, I'm beginning to think it's quite the crisis. So I'll address that here as we go through. Second slide, I won't linger here, but I just want to show Mike's background. He has, in my view, extreme standing within the community because of his background. 21 years in the military as a military policeman in the Marine Corps and the National Guard. He was on the border at San Diego. 4 months of the last Trump administration and 4 months of the Biden administration. So he's seen differences in border issues down there. He's a former social worker with Department of Child Services. In my view, he's a citizen in the truest sense and a true patriot. He is not here to slam anybody. We're trying to provide information that we have a public safety issue in the county that needs to be addressed, and that's what the resolutions are talking about. Public safety, that's it right there. There's so many aspects of this immigration thing, it's like the elephant in the room, and we're trying to take a small bite, okay? And it's becoming a real public safety issue. That's what got Mike involved. This is pictures outside his parents' house where both vehicles got slammed by an illegal immigrant driver driving without a license 1 year ago, over a year ago actually, November the 5th, 2023. And that's what got him off dead center on this and started his quest to provide information on how serious the issue was. The car was registered to this individual. Okay, you might recognize the building. Okay, but nevertheless, that's off of my case. He has the individual had numerous pretrial diversions and an active warrant in Columbus. So he's the one that rented the car or leased the car or provided the car to the driver that was driving without a license. This is a letter from Mike addressed to the mayor and all the council on May the 13th. Was that correct, Mike? I believe of last year. So we've been talking about this for quite some time. What really brought things to a head was this young man was on his way to the 4th Street Roundabout project on March the 26th, and was struck by an illegal immigrant driver driving without a license and killed. His family is with us tonight, okay? And that's what we're talking about, public safety. Public safety. This is the driver. He had 2 previous pretrial diversions for driving without a license. We have a judicial issue that needs to be addressed within the county. That's why the commissioners and the county have acted. Now it's our turn. Okay? Pretrial diversion means they pay $254. If they don't show up in the system within a year, it goes away. It's off the record. Okay? That's a state issue. That's a state issue. That's why myself and Mike and John Stahl went to the Attorney General's office. And that's why we went to the Eric Cook's office. And that's why we've been in constant communication with Jim Lucas. Okay? Because this needs to be addressed at the state. Brad's Law. This is proposed by Mike. An individual charged with IC 9-24-18-1 knowingly or intentionally operating without ever receiving a license and causes serious bodily injury to another person commits a level 6 felony, or when such actions result in catastrophic injury or death, a level 5 felony. Right now, it's a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. It's greater than the summons offense, correct, Mike?
There's no penalty at all. If
Right.
you drive a 9-24-18-1 and kill someone, there's no penalty at all.
Right.
That's why he was not charged.
The individual that killed Mr. Kastner is not in jail. Okay? So, second part of Brad's Law is a person who knowingly permits their registered vehicle to be operated by someone knowingly and intentionally operating without receiving a license commits a Class A misdemeanor. Okay? And that's targeting the registered owners who, in most cases now, are LLCs or individuals that register the car in their name and either lease it or give it to the individual. Okay? That's an issue. That's a huge issue. And it just happened again yesterday in Jennings County, just across the line. A girl who happens to be a granddaughter of an old friend of mine, a very close personal friend of mine, was struck by the legal status I don't know, but driving without a license across the center line. She rolled her car 4 times down the embankment. By the grace of God, she's alive. She's unhurt. She's sore as hell. But here she is she works at the hospital. She lives at Hayden. She's busting her tail, working a job, trying to pay for a car, and now it's totaled, and trying to live her life, and gets hit by someone driving without a license. Okay. I'm not going to go through all the rest of these. If you guys want to see the handouts, I got some up here. But this was presented to the Attorney General and Senator Cook. Senator Cook gave this to his staff members and to vet the constitutionality of it. There's a lot of stuff on here because might call out non-citizens and sentencing guidelines and stuff like that. There's a few things that they say will not pass constitutional muster. Okay? But nevertheless, he is carrying this now in the legislature. So if you want to get behind this, call Senator Cook, please, and Jim Lucas, because Jim's carrying this also. This is just a step in the direction that we need to go.
Are they going to notify you once they've vetted it and provide an edited version? Or do you guys know?
I assume it
Just
has to,
curious.
what, the process, you know, as you well know, it's like sausage making up there, okay? Just like it is here. We're in contact. I think it's in committee or going to committee. And then from there, we'll see what happens. We're trying, but we need to support this kind of thing. We need to take some kind of action. Once again, this is a serious public safety issue. Okay? Myself and John and Mike have talked to all these law enforcement people within the county. Okay? City council members, employees, officers. We've talked to everybody about this issue. Okay? There's some data. 540 cases from August 1st to September 1st of 2023 to 2024. 540 cases. That's documented cases. That's not the ones that never made it into the system. Okay? 540 cases. That's 45 a month. 45 a month. All right. Consider that. 351 in Seymour City. The rest scattered out throughout the county. The percentages over there on the right-hand column are percentages booked at Brownstown. Okay. That's another problem that we've discussed in here. Okay. And a lot of us have discussed this privately with law enforcement throughout the county. Okay, and there's some issues involved there. We've talked about that before, taking people down to Brownstown to book them and that kind of thing. So we've got, the county's passed the resolutions, and I'll talk later about some countermeasures that we want to consider. That is one page of a spreadsheet that Mr. Wright put together of about how many, Mike? 84 pages?
24 pages.
24 pages.
540 cases.
540 cases, and that's the detail that he went to. Mike has spent a year of his life putting this together, okay, dealing with this, because he feels strongly enough that this needs to be addressed at this level. We cannot wait for the new administration to come in, because people are dying on our roads. People are being maimed on our roads. This has been going on for, we know of one case 5 years ago. The lady's in a wheelchair for life because she got T-boned by someone driving without a license, and they received 1 day in jail and 364 days suspended. It's a judicial issue. It's a prosecutorial issue. It's an enforcement issue. It's a legal issue at the state. It's a legal issue at the feds. Okay? But like I've said before in this room, coming from the other direction, all politics is local. It starts here and it ends here. And we've got to stand up and do something. Okay? The main emphasis on this slide that I want to talk about is by not booking IC 924-18-1 offenders, positive ID is not made, a criminal history is not accurately documented for prosecutorial purposes, prior warrants are not captured and adjudicated, and illegals learn that there are minimal consequences. We have to deal with that. We think we can. It's going to take some, but we think we can. Pending actions, Brad's Law is at the General Assembly with Senator Cook and Jim Lucas. Attorney General has sent a civil investigative demand to the Seymour Police Department. And they've also sent a civil investigative demand to the Jackson County Industrial Development Commission. I don't know what the status is there. So with that, that is the data. That's how many? 13 slides, I believe. Yeah, 13 slides out of 47 that Mike presented to the commissioners, to the county commissioners 2 weeks ago. That's what prompted them to come up with these resolutions. Bear with me. A resolution, and I've tagged this, I understand, Chris, that we'll have to do this on our form, but
Yes, sir.
I've put Seymour City Common Council. A resolution of the Seymour City Common Council supporting Brad's Law and urging further support from other governmental bodies within Jackson County. Whereas the safety and security of the residents of Seymour and Jackson County, Indiana are paramount importance to the Seymour City Common Council, and whereas Brad's Law seeks to address significant public safety concerns by enhancing penalties for individuals knowingly and operating vehicles without ever having received a license, particularly when such actions result in serious bodily injury, catastrophic injury, and death. And whereas the proposed legislation further holds accountable individuals and entities knowingly permitting or enabling unlicensed individuals to operate vehicles, thereby prioritizing public welfare and ensuring compliance with existing laws. And whereas Brad's Law includes critical provisions to address crimes involving non-citizens, including requirements for booking procedures, limitations on pretrial diversion agreements, sentencing guidelines, and enhanced cooperation with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And whereas the law also establishes mechanisms for statewide monitoring of non-citizen crime and the formation of a task force dedicated to preventing illegal immigrant crime, demonstrating a comprehensive approach to addressing public safety challenges. And whereas the Seymour City Common Council recognizes the importance of supporting legislation that protects the well-being of all community members and ensuring accountability and justice within the criminal system, now therefore be it resolved by the Seymour City Common Council as follows. Support for Brad's Law. The Seymour City Common Council expresses their full support for Brad's Law and its proposed measures to enhance public safety within the state of Indiana. Number 2, request for countywide support. The council urges all other governmental bodies within Jackson County, including town councils, city councils, and public safety agencies to review and formally support Brad's Law as a critical step towards improving safety and accountability. We're all in this together. It's not Seymour, Brownstown, Crothersville, and Medora. It's all of us. Okay. Advocacy for statewide adoption. The council encourages local leaders, residents, and organizations within Jackson County for the adoption of Brad's Law by the Indiana General Assembly, ensuring that the voices of Jackson County residents are represented at the state level. Delivery of the resolution. A copy of this resolution shall be sent to the Indiana General Assembly, the Office of the Attorney General, and relevant local governmental bodies within Jackson County. That's Brad's Law. The second resolution, please bear with me. A resolution of the Seymour City Common Council supporting the detention and documenting of individuals driving without a license to ensure accountability and tracking. Whereas the safety and security of the citizens of Seymour and Jackson County, Indiana are priorities for the Seymour City Common Council, and whereas individuals driving without a valid license pose risks to public safety, undermine compliance with Indiana traffic laws, and contribute to challenges in law enforcement's ability to monitor and ensure accountability. And whereas under Indiana Code 9-30-2-5, residents and non-residents arrested for traffic misdemeanors other than operating while intoxicated are released upon written promise to appear or the deposit of security, potentially eliminating law enforcement's ability to thoroughly document and track offenders. Whereas the Jackson County prosecuting attorney has provided an opinion supporting the lawful detention and fingerprinting of individuals arrested for traffic misdemeanors, provided that the process is carried out efficiently and uniformly. And whereas detaining and documenting individuals, including taking fingerprints, ensures accurate documentation of identity, prevents individuals from circumventing legal obligations, and enhances public safety. And whereas the consistent enforcement of fingerprinting and documenting policy is critical to avoid potential legal challenges and to uphold constitutional protections while maintaining community trust, now therefore be it resolved by the Seymour City Common Council as follows. Support for detention and documenting policy. The Seymour City Council supports a policy requiring the detention and documenting of individuals driving without a license, including fingerprinting, to ensure proper identification, accountability, and tracking. Uniform enforcement. The council urges all law enforcement agencies within Jackson County to implement and consistently enforce such policies, ensuring that all individuals committing traffic misdemeanors are treated equally. Number 3, safeguarding legal compliance. Law enforcement agencies are encouraged to adhere to the guidance provided by the Jackson County Prosecuting Attorney to ensure the detention, booking, and fingerprinting processes are carried out lawfully and efficiently. Number 4, request for coordination. The council requests the support of other governmental bodies within Jackson County to endorse and adopt similar measures, demonstrating a united commitment to public safety and law enforcement efficacy. Number 5, advocacy for resources. The council understands the importance of equipping law enforcement with necessary tools such as fingerprint scanners to expedite the booking process and minimize the duration of detention. Number 6, communication with state authorities. A copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to the Indiana Attorney General, the Indiana General Assembly, and relevant state and local agencies to advocate for resources, legal clarity, and statewide collaboration on this matter. That being said, I have copies of the prosecutor's letter, okay? At this point, I would move that the council accept these resolutions as written, have the city attorney put these in the proper form, bring them back for a vote in the proper procedure. Help me out if I'm wrong here.
How can we accept it without it being finalized?
Numbered and all the pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can vote on it before you have it ready from Seymour.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I would, all right, I would move then that, council consider these in their entirety and ask the city attorney to put these in proper form so that we may vote on it next meeting.
Make a recommendation, we send these to government affairs before that process?
Let me amend my motion. Or maybe that will come later. I would propose an ad hoc committee. I know you don't like that, but I would propose an ad hoc committee of this council, once these are passed, to, and my suggestion would be Mr. Hackney, Mr. Lucas, Police Chief O'Brien, and any other that wants to volunteer for that, and I would gladly volunteer for that position, to meet with council, county council, and commissioners to hammer out procedures going forward.
When you say
I don't think that needs to be dependent on that, but.
When you say procedures, sir, what are you referring to?
County council has received quotes already for 3 fingerprint scanners. Okay, like, or booking scanners like are in the sheriff's department now.
Kevin, is that the same ones your family in Maryland uses?
One of them is, yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, this is kind of along the same lines of what Kevin has discussed with you guys before. Okay, but, they have quotes for 3 scanners, and the proposal is that scanner be, 1 in Brownstown, 1 in Crothersville, 1 in Seymour. Now, the prosecutor's letter addresses the procedures that he thinks will be good for him as far as how they can do that.
Don't mean to interrupt you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you step in here just for a second? Correct me if I'm wrong, city attorney, police chief, detaining of anybody more than 8 to 12 minutes is against the law? And do you
Well,
have a different
okay.
perspective through the prosecutor?
This is why we need an ad hoc committee or a committee of some kind to discuss that with council and hammer out those procedures, but the prosecutor has addressed that in his letter.
But can
Immediate-
council legally have that discussion? Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong. This legislative body, I don't think can tell you what to do. It can be a recommendation.
That's my take, is policy is set by the Board of Public Works and Safety for SPD. They set policy for police department, fire department, some other government agencies that fall under the executive branch. But, I mean,
That's issues to be hammered out, okay? The
Another-
main issue before us right now is, do we accept these resolutions as something that we want to
Support, I mean, basically what
do,
you're
that we
saying.
want to support
To,
and move forward with?
yeah, and I mean, I don't have an opinion if it has to go to committee, but it obviously is probably going to be brought by either an individual, one of us after rewritten, or by committee vet. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to bring it forward after it's rewritten.
Yeah.
And
I'm willing to.
I know previously, a few years ago, you brought something forward without committee, and I think that hurt it.
Yeah.
And just last meeting, Jerry sent the tuition stuff to committee, because it hadn't been yet, so.
The last meeting,
So-
you sent the
What did you
tuition.
say, Matt?
I said the last meeting, you sent the tuition stuff to committee, or requested it go to committee because it hadn't been, so.
I mean,
So, yeah.
Nothing about procedure has to be in these resolutions.
sure,
One
but,
problem that we're going to have that we need to address before we do anything, you had 4 members of council on there. So that's going to violate the open door policy if
No.
we don't,
Had
pardon?
3 members of council and the police.
You had you, me,
Brad,
and Brad, was that it?
Yeah.
Just those 3? I beg your pardon.
I mean,
That's not the
Yeah.
question, that's not the question on the table right now.
okay, I mean, I'll just tell you that I would support moving this to legal review and polish it up in some way. I mean, I'll tell you that, that's my support. Matt pointed out, I brought something to council, yeah, I think it's been 2 years.
It's been a couple years ago, probably.
That, I mean, our council president at the time was like, no, we've only ever sent things to committee. Which isn't exactly true, but we have made it more of a best practice to send things through committee. But it's not required. I mean, it's not required, but we I'm talking the 7 of us in here, or maybe 6, since you're the new guy still, have tried to send things through committee so that somebody else can tell us what the hell's wrong with it, right? Before we get here and lose. But I see no reason, I mean, what you've already presented, I don't think that it has to necessarily go to committee to be presented. When I prefer that we have the discussion here with all 7 of us. So, and before, when we were sending things through committee, it wasn't clear to us that all of our committee meetings had to be, publicly available.
I have a question, is this gonna be an ordinance?
No, it'd be a resolution.
I didn't know if this was gonna be an ordinance for a law for our local,
Local councils can't make laws.
but it's municipal government, right, local town?
So the resolution would just.
Just a recommendation.
This is a sense of the council resolution.
So what do they need to make law?
And that's,
Go to Jim Lucas or Eric Cook.
And that's what-
at the state level.
that's what this resolution would try to address, would be showing that this council recognizes that we can't make state law, but we would look to support movement in that direction. Does that make sense?
kind of in addition to what Drew said, I would like to see it pushed back to legal to review.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to have their input to make sure we're putting something forward. Mike, I want to thank you for the information that you provided for us. That was really good information. And to let you know, the girl that you spoke of that was injured over the weekend is my daughter-in-law. So it hits pretty close to home. We have an issue that we need to address, but we have to do it in a way that we can address it. So that's what I want. I think legal needs to be involved so we can move forward in the right direction, and we can present something to say, hey, we need improvements. Somebody shouldn't walk after this happens. I mean, we need to go in that direction, but right now I don't know if we have the guidelines to be able to do that, but I think we can give recommendations.
And, I mean,
It's my opinion that these resolutions, as written, strike to the heart of the matter. And you don't think this was legally vetted by the council or the?
I'm not suggesting that.
Well, you just said in your presentation, there were some pieces the state thought were unconstitutional.
And correct me if I'm wrong,
Only in Brad's law, those are not addressed specifically in the resolutions.
Are you looking at both or just one?
I'm sorry.
When you're speaking here, are you talking about resolution 8 and 9 from the commissioners, or are you
Yes.
talking, okay.
So then, Chris, in your initial review, I mean, have you reviewed this for 5 minutes or 5 days or?
It's been pretty brief, but I've done a cursory reading of it.
Okay, and do you feel like there are changes?
To the resolutions, no. The caveat to that being, we don't know what the final version of Brad's Law looks like. And we've heard tonight that there's a very good possibility
That there's changes?
that there will be changes to it, and once it goes through kind of the meat grinder at the State House, I would be hesitant. I'm not a policymaker, but if I were, I would be hesitant to sign my support to something that, one, doesn't exist yet, and two, in its infancy, already has some constitutionality issues.
I appreciate that feedback. And I would just say that one of the things that jumped out, can I just see that?
Sure.
I don't have a copy, but you kind of started off, and one of the things I heard you say was, Brad's Law seeks to address, so like the intent of Brad's Law, like just the intent of, as of such date, as written, would be really nice justification to address something like you're talking about in its current infancy without being vetted through Eric Cook's office. I mean, that could be super simple changes. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm in support of our body supporting this. I don't even know what, you know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, even if these resolutions were to be passed by this body, it's essentially a public declaration of your opinion.
Yes,
Exactly,
yes.
exactly.
This could lead to other things.
And it's showing to people that we're ready to start doing something. And it challenges us to follow through on that. Okay, and what those procedures might be, we have been discussing this since June.
Yeah.
Okay, those procedures. This is pushing us in that direction to come up with a solution that is acceptable to everyone, all law enforcement within the county, so we get away from these damn pissing matches.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry to break decorum, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and the other thing that I just wanted to add is, I like the idea of, I mean, a lot of guys that served on this council before would tell you, I've used the words ad hoc committee in here, and it didn't always get the best support.
I understand that.
However, I'm just reminding you, I'm absolutely okay with this body saying.
We need Chief O'Brien's input.
I agree.
We need the prosecutors.
Hold on just a second. But does it require you to create the ad hoc committee, or can council create an ad hoc committee?
I'm in charge of creating committees, but
Okay.
you
Would we
put
have
your 2 cents in and I'll,
Would we have your support to try to put together
More than
ad hoc?
likely, yeah.
Okay. I'm
Got to work together. We're all
I
part
agree.
of Jackson County. It's not Seymour and the county.
So your motion, help me understand so I can second it real quick.
Okay? My motion is to have Chris prepare the resolutions and bring them back to us for review so that we can pass. Yes or no?
I'm in second.
So correct me if I'm wrong before we take a vote here. The vote that we are about to take is not to accept this motion as currently reading. It is to take it to legal for her to rewrite and bring it back to this council. Is that what you're asking us?
I'm not asking her to rewrite it.
I'm not, just to
I'm
have her
not
vet
asking
it.
her to rewrite it. In my opinion, as written, this is as solid as it gets, folks.
And that's,
And that's my opinion. And any major deviation from that, I will have an issue with.
Yeah, speak.
been there.
Anybody want any comments from the audience? Before I let Chip talk if he wants to. Opinions from council.
I have another question. When, this pre-trial diversion, where does the money go?
That's a question.
Well, and the reason I ask that, I know in New Albany, they told me that it goes to the prosecutor.
Greg has an answer.
You answered your own question.
It goes to the prosecutor?
Goes to the prosecutor's fund.
Well, they made a little money then, didn't they?
I will tell you that the prosecutor buys equipment for all the agencies
Okay.
with that money.
Okay.
Another thing I have for you,
I will add this, and this is not directly related to the resolutions, but to the procedures that county has in mind is tying all these booking scanners into a county database, okay? That will be a Jackson County database at the prosecutor's office, okay? And they can download the 7.5 years that they have already at the sheriff's office into this database. And with the equipment that they're buying and the software, or the equipment that they've quoted and the software, that will be, the Jackson County database will be instantaneous. Okay? APHIS and the state is not instantaneous, correct? Could be up to 48 hours for the FBI.
I think Chris Everhart, the jail commander, has told me if they're not in the state system already, at midnight or 1 o'clock, they go out to the FBI.
Okay.
It's running through their computer and then comes back. So you are correct, 24 to
Prosecutor
48 hours.
Prosecutor spoke to county council over there, and I was at that meeting, and he indicated that there's a time lag there because their databases are so freaking huge that they can't find somebody that quick. Okay, unless they're tapped into the systems that we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the $1 million systems. Okay.
now is this something that the commissioners have agreed to purchase?
Not as yet. Not as yet. I think they're in agreement to, and I'll tell you straight up, I'm an open book here. The quote for three scanners for Crothersville, Sheriff's Office, Brownstown, Seymour City. The quote for that, including the software and the training to go with it and the installation, is $77,000. Folks, that's chump change. If we're cost sharing, that's chump change. We just approved $135,000 in tuition reimbursement. That's nothing. The prosecutor is requesting a mobile device, an iPad, if you will, that would be tied into the server, the Jackson County server, that would be instantaneous, because here's what's happened to them in the court system is within the last 2 months, they've had 2 people show up for court and they're listed after their booking, and they're in my case as one name, and they come in and show a different ID when they show up in court. So the prosecutor doesn't know who he has. Okay?
Will the system
So-
that they are looking at tie into ISP? Cause
Yes.
aren't they revamping their system within months?
What they're telling me now is that's just an upgrade to their system already. Just like upgrading your phone.
So
Okay,
again,
that-
I mean, if Matt said he, sounded like, I heard you say, yeah, you'd be willing to put together an ad hoc committee.
That's not the motion on the floor. at the
I
moment, Bill.
know, but that may be the second. But if we move on your motion now to just support the resolution for our next council meeting, is that helpful?
Yes. Yes, and all these details can be worked out.
That's what I was, well, maybe next is the motion for an ad hoc committee, but I don't even know how we do that. But I don't know, but again, I seconded your motion.
Guess I would call it a request for an ad hoc
Yeah,
committee.
yeah, okay.
Maybe that's a
Yes,
way to word it.
that would be good.
Or I'll just amend his motion to send this resolution for legal review and request an ad hoc committee put together. That's my amendment. Anybody second that?
Second.
Well, I think we need some clarity on that, guys.
Sorry.
It says the guy that's got to take the notes.
Aaron's got motion sickness.
Yeah, there we go, motion sickness. So you still want, based on what Bob said, he wants the resolutions presented at the next council meeting. Throwing the ad hoc
You
committee
downsize
piece
that.
in there makes it sound like you want to go to committee first before it goes.
No, I'm sorry. Let me not get confused. Let me not get confused.
I think I know what you want, I just
Okay.
wanna make sure we word it properly.
So let's just go ahead and vote on the first, motion, and I'll withdraw my amended motion.
So the motion is to send Resolution 8 and Resolution 9 from the county commissioners to Chris to be rewritten in Seymour City Council form with appropriate resolution numbers and format. That's the motion on the table, correct?
Correct.
And I seconded that, yeah.
Okay. So we're voting on that motion. Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
I have to abstain because I'm an investigating officer on the crash involving Mr. Kastner. I don't want to skew any possible litigation, so I will abstain.
Okay. Mr. Story?
Yes.
So the motion passes 5-1-1.
Okay. I'll make a motion that council request an ad hoc committee made up of 3 council members. Oh, gosh, I don't know how far I need to go with this. Okay,
Just make the request in general.
okay. A request for an ad hoc committee to work on this topic, not this resolution.
So are we making that a motion to vote on or just a request to the mayor?
Which way do you need it?
I know.
Legal.
I mean, since the mayor forms them, I would assume it's just a request for the mayor to do that, because that's how we've done it in the past.
Yeah,
Good
it'd be
with
a
that?
request for you to form an ad hoc committee.
Okay. Ad hoc committee, obviously you need police chief. Now, here's the negative to this. All I can give you is city staff. I can encourage the prosecutor to be a part of it. I can encourage the sheriff. I have no control over them.
Understood.
So
That would be something for them to
choose to be a part of or not. And honestly, I would recommend it because I think there's a lot of detail left out here.
Oh, yeah, there's not, the
There's
details
no-
on the resolution.
Yeah, there's no,
No. This is intent. The resolutions
yeah.
is the intent.
but I will encourage, or I will sign, Bob, you're the one that introduced it, so you get it.
Okay.
Jerry, did you attend that meeting?
Which one?
The council meeting where they voted on these?
Yes.
Okay. Bob, Jerry, and if anybody wants to volunteer, I'll take a volunteer, but if not, I'll assign somebody along with Chief Lucas and bring Watson with you.
Who was your recommendation?
Chief O'Brien?
Sorry, I got Brad on my mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got Brad on my mind actually,
What was
so.
the third one? Was it
I
Brad?
think it was Brad who.
I'd be happy to do it, but I really I'd be happy to join your committee in 39 days.
Gotcha.
What, with that said, why don't we leave that?
Yeah.
My recommendation would be throw Brad on there as a part of government affairs.
Okay.
That was my thought.
Beatty,
Finance,
Hackney,
governmental affairs, and the police department.
Beatty, Hackney, Lucas, O'Brien and Watson from PD's side. And like I said, I would encourage trying to get maybe some county council or county commissioners involved, just because, again, there is a whole lot of urging, but there's not much meat inside there.
Right.
So,
And I think, Mayor, not to speak to the intent of the folks who wrote this, but I think that might be by design,
okay.
since this body doesn't set policy for SPD.
Okay, good point.
Correct.
Okay.
Details to be hammered out.
Mayor Nicholson, thank
Yes.
you.
And again,
I know it was tough to
as
get
you
through.
transition, I
Sure.
would encourage you to come back from the county side.
You bet. You bet.
Which is sooner than we think. I mean, you're
Yeah, you bet.
getting really close to end of the year here, so. Okay, anything else, Bob?
No, thank you for your forbearance.
If you
This
wouldn't
is a
mind,
tough subject and,
Yeah.
and I really, but we've got to address it. We have to.
and Mr. Beatty, if you send me a copy of what you've got, I'll slap a number on it and get it formatted and ready
Okay.
for next
I
council.
can give you what I have right here, as a matter of fact.
Proofreading is not my strong point.
Anybody else on council before I go to code review?
I just wanted to let you know, that Jane had sent us the numbers from the contact us form, the report of concern. I'm hopeful that council saw all of this. I can't categorize each of the topics, but there were actually 202 submissions throughout the year. I thought that number was actually much higher than I had anticipated. But again, Jane had put in her email that a lot of times she sees those and they never make it to council because it's things that get handled through departments.
And,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So, I just want to share that.
And I'll second what you just said there, Drew, because I was surprised it was 202 as well. 100, 120 was kind of where my mind went when I shot the email over to her, and so it came back higher than I thought, so. Okay, code review. We did the 10 next pieces of code. Any comments from council? I didn't have anything on these 10 that was out of what we currently do or needed to be changed, so. Anything from you guys before we, Seth, you good too?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so I'll mark those off, and I think governmental affairs still needs to review the one piece on the first 10.
Okay.
So that'll come back to you. You all noticed Councilman Lucas has been absent. He was actually in the ER as we've been meeting, so keep him in your prayers with everything comes out okay there. So again, sorry, Greg, that's why I had Lucas on my mind a minute ago, was thinking about that.
It's been called worse.
So, miscellaneous from the audience at 8:08 in the evening. JJ.
Is a copy of the letter from the prosecutor on else, is a copy of that available to the public?
I believe so, because he indicated to me he was an open book on that too, so I have a copy that I could show you or get with you
Okay.
on that.
We can make a copy.
We can make a copy too, so.
Yeah, if I can find it amongst this stack of stuff.
Okay. Anything else?
Wanna say something?
Yep, step up, state your name, tell us about yourself.
Do I face this way or do I face them?
You can
Does it
face
matter?
this way. I will give you a heads up though, we're late enough, I'm going to 3 minutes, so.
Well, I'm glad you just give me any. For you guys that don't know me, and you do, my name's Ashley Griswold. I'm the owner of Indiana Vapor Labs. I own the shop downtown, 109 North Chestnut Street. Believe it or not, I'm an e-liquid manufacturer. One of the only women e-liquid manufacturers in the United States. right here in Seymour, Indiana. So the reason why I'm here today is because I'm having some issues with my business. And it started in 2020. Pardon me for being passionate, I've only got 3 minutes. This is the amount of police reports that I've had to make because of harassment toward my business. I've made reports to the prosecutor, to SPD. I actually have an active one right now because they made a full Facebook page calling me a meth user and trying to destroy my life. I don't know who's behind it, but I hope whoever has been trying to destroy my life for the last 10 years gets something. I hope more than what this family's getting. That's embarrassing that our community can't at least arrest people for killing somebody. That's not my problem, I'm sorry. And I really don't want to bring all this up because we really don't have a whole lot of time. Somebody that wants to know about my life can. But I want to talk about the taxes that I pay and how much I've lost because we have people moving into our community that should not be in the vape industry, should not be selling vapes to children, should not have their hand in anything that I'm doing. And it's important that you guys in the community know what's going on and what's been going on for the last 10 years. These new people coming in, selling them out of their gas stations are not for our children. They are looking to damage our lungs. They are looking to put bleach, yes, bleach, fentanyl, all the above, because I work with the local ATC trying to show them bootleg products, letting them know what is in our community right now. We can talk about piece of Hispanics all you want. It's not the Hispanics I'm worried about. It really is disgusting what I deal with. I've had these people contact my manufacturer trying to create their own e-liquid line. After that got cut off in 2016, I don't know why people would even be trying. However, let's talk about my taxes. I started paying an ECT tax because of the disposables. The disposables have a extra tax. We pay 15% ahead of time before I buy them. When traditional e-liquid has now got a 21% tax, not a problem. That's not what you're going to hear me arguing about. What I am worried about is my tax revenue has went down.
That's time, Ashley.
And other people's not paying into our community.
Are you going to be around after the meeting?
I can say.
Angie, may I ask, what are you asking of this council?
I would like to know if any other business in this town's had to deal with what I've had. I've joined in the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, this is a employment application that I received 2 days ago. And it literally says that they worked at Simba and left because racial slurs. Like, I'm confused what businesses are going on around me. It's not what I'm doing, but I sure am in that same pool and get looked at the same. And it's not fair. I've done nothing to this community but pay taxes. I paid $98,000 in taxes last year. $98,000, that's how good I'm doing, guys. I'm proud of myself.
Well, ma'am, as head of retail development, if you'll stay after, I'll be more than glad to talk to you.
I appreciate it, but what's been going on to me has been racial harassment and everything. It's unreal.
Stick around after the meeting, I'll be glad to talk to you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion and a second. Meeting adjourned. Everybody enjoy your night.